tal amigos? Welcome. This is LatiNation Football Club. I am your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and today, as always, we have a banger of a show. We're going to be covering MLS, the National Women's Soccer League, Leagues Cup, and everything that you need to know on the start of the European leagues. But we got to get started, and that's why I'm here with my good friend, El Chiva Mayor, the one and only, the expert on MLS. Chiva, this is the happiest moment of the season where the teams have to really put themselves to get points. And we see that two teams are getting hot right at the right time, and that is LAFC and Miami.
Yeah, LAFC with finally Sonny playing 90 minutes, looking really good. He did an assist. He actually looked like he was with the team for a long time. There's still more to come from Sonny. But let's talk about Miami, man. Miami on the move up. Messi playing for only 45 minutes and scoring one goal. Same as Suarez, Jordi Alba. I mean, I think Miami's up there for a top contender for the MLS Cup.
Without a doubt, Miami right now seems to be one of the most dangerous teams. The addition of DePaul has really given another dimension to this team. And having Messi rest some days and continue to be that star player that the leagues need him to be is great. But we have to go with our good friend Nick C. He's going to break down this game and some more. Nick C, how are you, my friend?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, yeah, a lot ahead right now, but with Miami in full form right now, with the guns blazing, with their guy Messi back in town, it is all eyes on Miami. And I think they're going to come through ending this season very strong. Now, we've seen teams like Cincinnati, Nashville coming in hot, kind of filling these top spots. These are teams that we wouldn't have normally been seeing all the way up there. But I think that's about to change with Miami in full force right now. And when it comes to the Western Conference, not to make this all about me and not to bring things back to my beloved Los Angeles Galaxy squad, but you have to give some credit to us for helping you guys over there at the LAFC side of things out, for us just being so great this season at not winning games and not scoring goals. So a little bit of luck, I think, from your guys' side as well, and some luck that we wish we had over there at the Galaxy side.
That's right, Nick. Galaxy has been struggling, continues to drop points, but the MLS has a lot to be looking forward to. Another big game, the Texas Classic. Not so many goals, but what do you say? It was a good game?
I mean, a derby is a derby, right? Sometimes you expect a lot of goals or a team winning, scoring a lot of goals. And sometimes there's this type of games where it's a boring game, one boring game for the ones that don't go for those teams, because the ones that support those teams, every single play matters and it makes your adrenaline go up. I mean, it was a 1-1. At least it wasn't a 0-0, which we've seen happening a lot with the Clásicos.
Without a doubt, Chiva. Now, we have another big game that happened because there's another Southern California team really making a splash in the league, and that's San Diego. Nick C, what's your take on that game?
How can you not be so excited about San Diego FC right now? They are doing absolutely amazing, and it is so rare. And I know we called this early on, like that San Diego is going to come out with a blast and do absolutely beautifully this season because they have this sort of new franchise momentum behind them. That proved very true, but still, even beyond that, it is so rare to see a team do absolutely this well and dominate so well in the regular season by a long shot. So San Diego, if Miami is the team to watch on the east side when it comes to the sports book and finishing this season strong, San Diego FC definitely will be the best bet when it comes to finishing this season very strong. I mean, their odds went from like plus 8,000 to like the low hundreds right now. So huge jump, huge swing. So a lot of momentum behind San Diego, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing to suggest that that's going to change.
Thank you, Nick C, for that excellent analysis. Now, if you still want to get in that bet, Chiva, who do you think is going to be the first, the Supporter Shield winner and then the MLS Cup winner?
I mean, a Supporter Shield winner is going to be an East Coast team. They already have it said and done. I know there's 10 games left, but they are on top of the league. But look, man, honestly, I'm very excited, like Nick said before, to see new teams on top of the league and the standings. And man, this cup, anybody can take it. You know, it's amazing to see this type of football changing the teams that are always in the finals. Finally, you don't see Columbus Crew being a number one team, or LAFC or Galaxy that came from winning the championship and now fighting for the wooden spoon. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting league.
And that is the beauty of MLS. This is a league that prizes, competitiveness, and equality across the team so we can see different teams progress. And now it's time to go to the other side of the equation because NWSL is also entering into the final phase of the season. We have great games, a record signing, the most expensive signing in the world. Chiva, and who is going to give us all the info?
Y para toda la información de NWSL, como yo siempre digo, también las mujeres pueden, la única Camila Ortiz.
Yeah, what's up, guys? We just came off a super exciting weekend from the NWSL. Like you guys said, we have exciting trade, record-breaking news. But let's start off with the game we talked about in the last season. Orlando Pride versus Kansas City Currents. Ended up in a 0-0 draw. This was a difficult game. I mean, what did you guys think about that?
It was a tough game, Chiva. We see why these two teams were the finalists last season. The parity between the two is great. The level of the players, the strategy on the team. I see that these two teams will become dynasties because they have something very important in the world, Chiva. Do you imagine paying? Let me make a little point. Less than a month ago, we were looking at the most expensive signing in the women's world, $1 million. Just this week. $2 million, Chiva. Let's see, Camila, tell us this big news.
Yes, we have a super exciting transfer coming from Mexico, coming from Tigres, Lisbeth Ovale, at a whopping $2 million deal. This is record-breaking for the women's side of Futbol. She is a fantastic winger, and I think is going to bring so much to this Orlando Pride team, who we saw struggled, only got one shot on target during this last game. But maybe their luck is changing, and yeah, we'll see.
Chiva, what do you think of a team that goes and has Marta, the best female player that the game has ever seen, and then now they bring the most expensive one? What is this as a statement for the NWSL?
I mean, they're the current champions. They want to make sure they keep winning more championships. They can go back to back. But seeing a player coming from the Mexican League, that only tells you how much the women's soccer is growing around the world. And I'm so happy to see signings like this.
And I have to give a shout out to the Mexican League because they have done such an amazing job of integrating the women's game into their league. Because in Mexico, every professional team also has a women's team. And that has allowed the Mexican players to become some of the hottest players around the world. Camila, what do you think it is the future of the league now that we see that the money is being spent not only in buying franchises, but also bringing some of the best players?
I mean, this means so much for the women's game. Not only did we see a record-breaking transfer, but again, we are seeing two brand new teams, brand new franchises coming into this upcoming season. So I think it's just another testament to how rapidly this league is growing. And I think it's going to be total world domination on the women's side of football.
We saw that the NWSL has a bunch of players already nominated to the Ballon d'Or, like we covered last week. Chiva, this league is very exciting, but how do you feel wearing that jersey to see that a Mexican player is now the most expensive signing in the history of a sport?
I mean, super proud. Like I said, super proud of Liga MX Femenil. They come up, very, very good. At the beginning, they struggle a little bit with the league. Like you said, every single professional team of the men's team have a female team. And man, right now they're doing so good. You can see that the national teams as well, that this league is growing so much that now you have the #1 signing in the history of NWSL coming to the USA. And I mean, soccer all over the world is growing, but specifically here in the United States, I think it's taking the same path as the MLS, where they have their own stadiums, where they have a lot of franchises, and they're only here to make the sport grow, and that has to be exciting for everybody.
That is right. We are very excited to see the growth of the game, and we will continue to cover it. Before we go on a break, Camila, let us know, what is your pick for the best game this weekend in NWSL?
Oh, so many exciting, great games this weekend. But if I had to choose, it would be San Diego Wave versus Racing Louisville. And let me tell you guys why. Because not only was San Diego Wave able to get a fantastic 3 points win this weekend, but they were able to climb the stands of the NWSL and are in second place right now, on top of Orlando Pride, last season's champions. So they need this win. They need the 3 points to hang on to that point in the standings.
Thank you, Camila. So there you have it. That was our report on MLS and National Women's Soccer League. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back here in LatiNation Football Club, we're going to be talking about the beginning of the European leagues and everything that went down on the Leagues Cup. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
It doesn't matter that they're early in the game, late in the game, they're trailing, they're leading. It doesn't matter, garbage time. CeeDee Lamb is the guy, and we saw that even after Dak got hurt last year and Cooper Rush was under center. Targets were going to CeeDee Lamb. And when you can get 9, 10, 12, 15 targets on a game-by-game basis, he's going to rack up fantasy points every single week. Frankly, he underperformed last year.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Answer is this. 12-team, 3 wide receiver, you take Jamar Chase. In a 10-team league, though, where you have only 2 wide receivers to start, it's an interesting supply and demand situation with a roster like that. That is where the Bijan #1 overall maybe comes into play, because you could take Bijan and then turn around. You're still getting 2 #1 wide receivers in a 10-team league draft.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
In extras, knocked out the Reds 6-5. This team doesn't lose. And the only thing I want to say, Tom, is I just hope they can continue this. Now, what does that mean? 40 games in a row? Of course we know it's not going to be the case. They are peaking right now. We've seen so many times. Baseball's a long season. Boy, if the Brewers were playing this baseball on September the 28th, watch out. But they are sensational right now.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
¿Qué tal, amigos? We are back here in LatiNation Football Club. I am your host, Marcelino Ortiz, and we are ready to start our analysis of the European leagues. That's right, La Premier y La Liga ya empezaron, and we have our one and only, the European expert, Nick C. How are you, my friend?
Doing great. How are you?
Very, very excited. We saw great football this weekend. Let's start with La Liga. What is your outlook for this league after the first match day?
Well, this is one of those leagues, like the Premier League, like many others around the world, that have so many amazing, talented squads. So there's a lot to look forward to. But in some ways, it's kind of the usual suspects here. What's catching my eye off the bat from the beginning of this season? Barcelona looking beautiful as they always do, showing out against Mallorca. Little fun fact for you guys, they actually had to switch their kit in the last minute because their new lime green was a little too similar to Mallorca's. But that is the least important thing here, because Lamine Yamal absolutely doing amazing, as always, showing out. They're looking very strong. And how could they not, with all that talent kind of jam-packed into this squad? We are seeing a new generation of Barca that is making a name for itself. Real Madrid, obviously, again, another star-studded squad. They're going to do great. A little bit of a shaky start. They won their first opening match, but they got a little lucky. Mbappe scoring a penalty, that could have gone either way. That call about that penalty was iffy, but in general, they don't look to have that form, that chemistry quite yet under Xavi Alonso. Another squad, Atletico Madrid, looking amazing too. What do you think? Do you think they're up there to contend with Real Madrid, Barcelona as well?
Well, we know that Simeone is a type of coach that it takes him a little bit of the season to figure out his squad. I believe that Atletico will be a dangerous opponent this season because he's the later stage of Simeone as a coach for this team, and I'm pretty sure he has that eagerness to be champion one more time. But let's go with our very own Alex Crespo. Please tell us, what did you saw this first match day on La Liga?
I mean, estamos aquí con los resultados de La Liga. I mean, this was an amazing weekend for football, and we got to start it off with Barcelona. I mean, a 3-0 win against Mallorca, and it was beautiful. We saw the new number 10 showing no pressure at all. Lamine Yamal getting into a little bit of a banter with the opponent, and then 2 minutes later, scoring a last-minute finesse, beautiful goal. And we also saw some history being made for the Los Brasileros. We saw Rafinha score, and this is the first Brazilian to score in the opening game for Barcelona since 2007, Ronaldinho. I mean, that prime Barcelona is something we haven't seen in a while. But then we go over to Real Madrid. This game was really close with a 1-0 score at the end and a goal from Mbappe, as Nick said. And we also saw Argentinian flair in this with the debut of Mastantuono. This was not an easy start because he did not score, but you know, it's coming up in the next few games. And then we have to go to Atletico de Madrid. We saw another Argentinian flair of a goal from Julian Alvarez, but it just wasn't enough for this game. They lost 2-1, and it's going to be a rough start of the season. So what do you guys think? Is this going to be the top 3, or do you think there's going to be a dark horse team up there?
No, it's a good question. I mean, you got a lot of dark horses in the league. Sevilla could come out of nowhere, but how can you not put all your money behind Barcelona at this point, this early on, right? We're talking like the first few weeks of the season. So let's wait and see, but Barcelona is Barcelona.
That's right, that's what's going down in La Liga, but now we have to move on to England because La Premier también empezó and there were great games. Nick, what did you saw in this first match day that really piqued your interest?
All right, so Liverpool, Bournemouth, great match. Liverpool getting a little slack because Bournemouth kind of came back with these 2 amazing goals to equal things up, but Liverpool tied the bow on the gift at the end of things and were able to win 4-2. I will say, I think a lot of pressure on squads like Liverpool, and we're expecting a whole lot. So even if they come through at home with a 4-2 win, everyone's like, oh, are they a little shaky? Only 4-2, they let 2 in, right? I understand. You can't say the same for Manchester City. That absolutely dominated in their opening match. They're looking amazing.
Chelsea has spent something crazy like $500 million in signings in the last 3 years, and unfortunately it didn't show in the first match day. They were unable to get the result, but let's go with Alex Crespo that is going to give us the breakdown of these games.
Oh my God, what better league to talk about than La Premier League? We're going to the land of beans and toast. I mean, we have seen some amazing games. Starting off the season with Liverpool, Bournemouth, as Nick said, we saw some amazing goals, 4 goals, and we saw Salah Finesse showing that flair, and he is also winning the PFA award for the 3rd time now, showing that Liverpool class, and hopefully they can keep him for a long time. And this game obviously being dedicated to the late passing Diogo Jota, who all these players were very eager to get this first win to start off the season strong and hopefully dedicate this league title to him again. Then we go over to Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, a game that we saw as a very surprising result. 0-0, no goals in this game, but you know, we were expecting a little bit more from this Chelsea team, especially after winning the Club World Cup, and they're off to a rough start, but hopefully they are able to pick this up later on in the season. And then we obviously have to talk about that Wolves-Manchester City game where we saw a Haaland brace and Rangers scoring on his Manchester City debut. I mean, what a better way to start off the season than with a goal and a 4-0 win. I mean, what do you guys think? Could it have gone any better than that?
That's right, Alex. That's what's going down on the Premier because this season, I think Manchester City is the one to lead the polls and the odds to become the champions. Now, Nick, another team that is struggling and have the eyes of everyone on them is Manchester United. They don't seem to be able to find a winning formula, and now the coach officially has more losses than wins. Do you see that they might turn this season around?
It's definitely possible, but what Manchester United's big problem right now is the pressure. The pressure with this great history and then a few years of not a lot to show, right? So they're going to have to overcome that, and we're kind of getting to the point where, you know, that pressure is going to start alleviating because it's been a while and the expectations start to go down. But I think they'll be able to pull through. We'll have to see how it goes.
And before we go, Alex, let us know which is your pick for your favorite game this weekend.
This weekend, you cannot miss Manchester City versus Spurs. We're going to see if they are able to compensate for not having Heung-min Son anymore and are able to take down the mighty Giants. Let's see how good a match.
Thank you, Alex. And there you have it, our favorite pick for the best game of the weekend. And now we have to go on a break. You are watching LatiNation Futbol Club, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to break down all of the action of the quarterfinals of the League's Cup. That's right, the Final Four are here, and we have the semifinals lined up. I am Marcelino Ortiz, and I'll be right back.
playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Pages. Let's get lucky.
The Bengals are listening to trade offers for perennial Pro Bowler Trey Hendrickson for me and Tom Pelissero. It's unclear if the NFL sack leader will be playing elsewhere in 2025, and a trade will be a real challenge, but time will tell. You know what's not a real challenge? In the offseason, when he doesn't want to be here and you're trying to make a trade for him. Most people that say, okay, I have to sell a house or sell a car, let me put it out on the market, and I'll take the best deal that's available.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay. I'm not going to name names.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
They're saying that he might be back for the start of the playoffs, but their playoff spot isn't secure with the Mariners bearing down on them and the wild card completely in flux. So this is like borderline red alert because the pitching staff has not been good. We have not seen good stuff from Framber Valdez. So now that the back end of the bullpen is not good, I don't know what to make of it.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back, everybody. Nick Z here with my boy Chiva Mayor. We have covered so much amazing football so far, but we got to talk about the Leagues Cup, a tournament that a lot of people here and on the other side of the border in Mexico are talking about because it's MLS squads going head-to-head against Liga MX. What do you think so far? It's been pretty close, neck and neck. We've seen days when MLS has dominated, other days when Liga MX have blown the MLS squads out of the water. So what do you think? Are we at this point where we can say that MLS is on the same level as MX, or am I getting a little too ahead of myself?
Not getting too ahead of yourself. I think, Mexican media has been denying for the past years that MLS is not at the Liga MX level. I think MLS is at the Liga MX level. And again, if they don't see it with all these results that we've been seeing with Leagues Cup and then the both national teams going at it, I mean, then I don't know what they want to say. I think they're blind. But at the end of the day, Leagues Cup is such an amazing tournament that is bringing this rivalry to another level. USA versus Mexico, Mexico contra Estados Unidos. And I love to see that. The fact that both leagues are growing together, I think it's only going to make it better for Mexico and USA.
And the two are getting much closer, both feeding each other with amazing developed talent as well. We love to see that as well. But for more, for the specific games, we got to toss it over to Marce and Cami.
Gracias, Nick. Chiva, yes, we are going to break down the Leagues Cup because the semifinals are here. And surprisingly, once again, for the third time in a row, the top four is only MLS team. That's right. There's no Liga MX teams left in the competition. Does it mean, Camila, that MLS is finally catching up to Liga MX?
I mean, listen, I think that this is a somewhat disappointing result. I would have expected better from these Mexican teams, but again, this is a bit of a lopsided tournament. I mean, you have to consider that these teams are only playing in the United States, so again, that does give the MLS team somewhat of an advantage.
That is true. There is only games here in the United States. Now, let's break them down. The first one, it was Puebla versus Seattle, and it was a 0-0 draw,
Yes.
but there was an unlikely hero. Tell me about it, Camila.
Yes, Thomas Andrew, the goalkeeper of the Seattle Sounders, in penalties. It was 0-0 throughout the 90th minute, and it went to penalties. And he came up with two big saves, really helping his team out, considering that the Seattle Sounders were down to 10 men at the end of that match.
And then we have to move on to the next game. Galaxy trying to save face after a terrible domestic season. They are in the semifinals, beating no other than Pachuca, one of the biggest richest teams in Mexico. Let's break that down, Camila.
Yeah, I think this was a very decisive match from, LA Galaxy. And honestly, I think they definitely needed that win after whatever their past season has been so far. But to break this game down a little bit, LA Galaxy was able to win 2-1 with two goals coming from Marco Reus. And again, this is a new German transfer for LA Galaxy. He was able to force one own goal and make another decisive strike.
Now, more games. Another game that was surprising is the defeat of Toluca. The current champion of MLS was defeated and kicked out of the competition by Orlando. That is right. Orlando now is one of the most dangerous teams in MLS. They beat Miami 4-0. They beat Toluca. Tell me about this game.
Yes, so this was yet another draw through the 90th minute, forcing the teams to go into penalty kicks. And we saw Pedro Gales, the keeper, showed up big time with two big saves, and he scored the game-winning goal. So very, very impressive from him.
And finally, the most expected game of these quarterfinals was Miami versus Tigres, and it did not disappoint, although surrounded by controversy. Mascherano was expelled in the game. He was calling in directions from the stands on his cell phone, and 2 goals. I wouldn't like to see Miami win like this because it's already there, the phantom of hell. But tell me, how did it all went down?
Yes, so Luis Suarez was able to put away 2 penalty kicks, securing the win for Miami. Tigres looked extremely frustrated by the end of this game, and it was quite obvious how upset they were with the result, but it was a good match overall.
And finally, Camila, we have the semifinals lined up. Miami versus Orlando and Galaxy versus Seattle Sounders. 2 big games, 2 clásicos, if you ask me. What are your predictions for the semifinals?
Oof, I think Orlando's going to take it home again. I think that was such a decisive win that they had over Miami, so I see them doing it again. Maybe in a more, not as easy way this time. So I'm going to go 2-1. And then for the Seattle Sounders versus Galaxy, yes. I'm going to go Seattle Sounders because they've been having a really strong run in this tournament so far.
That's right, Camila. I believe that Orlando will take the result. They're a much deeper team than Miami, and unless Messi has one of those magical nights, I don't see them getting the result. On the other side of the bracket, unlike Camila, I'm with Galaxy. They need this victory to save their tournament, and they have that dog in them in this tournament. I've seen them play in a completely different way. So those are our predictions, and we'll go back to the studio with you, Nick and Chiva.
Marce, Cami, thank you guys so much. You are so right. These are going to be amazing matchups up ahead. I'm super pumped. Are you?
I am, man. It's semifinals. Come on, baby, bring them.
Bring them. All right, well, we definitely brought it today. We covered MLS, we covered Europe, NWSL, and so much more. That's not it.
Vamos a tener todo lo relacionado con fútbol, pero sobre todo los international games. This is it for today. No te pierdas LatiNation Football Club todos los viernes.